the group.
I was gonna say Mac.
Yeah. Maybe I'll wear my sunglasses at night so I can see.
Not nine. Not quite. See me got pulled over for speeding again.
Uh,
All right, well then, I should be on the same page. Oh, we're streaming now.
are
Look.
we streaming? We're back?
Yep.
Okay. See, I'm
All right.
see how this is, see how this is delayed? Like,
It's usually delayed.
yeah, that's and it won't pop up till it's just weird. So we're all live again. This time we're gonna talk about our current situation. But I'm gonna turn this off. Okay. All right. So we're here. We just got off of a wonderful call with Sean from Space Weather Prediction Center. We got our sunglasses on because it's starting to get dark, so we want to wear our sunglasses at night for this. Because that makes sense. We're in a park in Ohio. It's really awesome. I have two computers set up because I have things on this computer that's not on that computer and vice versa, and we didn't have time to do anything. So I'm gonna basically hand it over to Christian here. Look at my blurred hands in the background. Um, oh wait, that's right. I gotta share. I gotta like give him sharing
Yeah, I can't.
properties. Otherwise, he can't do anything. But we're gonna talk about our current situation with these multitude of CMEs that are supposed to show up. And right now we're missing a few. Well, we're waiting for it. Maybe it got pulled over. Well, you said pull over for speeding, I guess. Like those guys on the bikes over there.
That should be.
So anyway, I'll let him take over. I'm gonna put this on mute, and I'm gonna be over on that screen over there.
Because otherwise you have echoes. Ah.
I go.
All right. Yeah, this is the shade stream. Because yeah, it is really hard to see anything actually. It was a good idea in theory, but in this case, we're not going to. So, CME update. Where are we at? Bad news for who am I thinking of? Everyone. Those people. That's right. We have nothing currently.
Nothing currently.
And that's not an under exaggeration. I when I say nothing, I mean EPAM is as flat as can be. I don't see it may have decreased even slightly more. And this is just background levels. I'm sharing the screen too, right? Yes,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I'm gonna try to share this over to a group while you're chit chatting.
Okay. So as we mentioned before, sometimes I think the last stream, EPAM, generally low energy protons start going up quite a bit as we get more, well, the CME gets closer into us, we get more of the, we'll call them waves of protons, and they usually signify that something is at least on the way. They will slowly increase and then have a drastic rise just before the CME gets here. That's usually pretty consistent as long as the CME is somewhat aimed towards us, and these are all supposed to be glancing blows as of now. It looked like there was one that was going to be faster, and that would have been the last one if I'm not mistaken, but that is also a glancing blow. So we should still see something from EPAM at this point. If you're not sure where to get this is still on SWIPC's website. You just have to check the ACE real-time solar wind data, not the actual solar wind data. And this is going to be under low energy protons. And this is pretty much the graph you want to get. You can check it over the last 7 days even. And it's pretty obvious that other than that little bump right there after the 8th, which was actually from the flare, things have been low. So the bad news is tonight is either a no-go or it's going to be so weak of an arrival that it likely won't do very much. So if you're thinking of driving anywhere,
Don't.
maybe wait. Yeah, maybe. That's pretty much all I have for current updates on that. But I did at least want to bring up it's blurred. You can't see. I have to unblur my background now, so this can be funnier. I wanted to bring up at least Glasgow and check out the CMEs, but the problem there is they're all faint and conglomerated into one giant mass.
Well, we lost Glasgow for a little bit too.
So lost the, I think it was the data input. I'm not sure.
It wasn't like lost. It was like, yeah.
It was like an 8-hour loss of just we couldn't get data.
So that's a slight problem.
But then we have this is 48 hours. So notice not a lot happens until, well, everything happens right here. That may have looked like one CME, but I'm pretty sure there was 3 in there. Let's go back into C2 a little bit. And this is looking at Glasgow C2 and C3, both using running difference imagery, which looks at how the image changes from the previous frame, which makes it a little easier to see usually. especially these because they're faint, but there looks like one, maybe two.
Yeah, kind of looks that way.
And then there's another one there. That's a pretty narrow one. And then there's another one. Most of these are at least two of them. The ones in the north, those are all just away. We don't worry about that one. But the one to the south, and that was a filament eruption, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a pretty nice one. Oh, I think actually this was just 8/8. This was just yesterday.
Okay, yesterday.
Which feels like 3 days ago. I agree.
It does. Yeah.
That's how things have been working lately. So, point is, that was likely the CME from the filament. That's what we're going to be waiting on mostly.
That's now what's slated to Sunday.
Which should be, yeah, like now-ish, like tonight, tomorrow. Wait, what's today? Friday. Never mind. I'm not even sure what day it is anymore.
We're doing good here,
Yeah. Too bad Sean's not here to just keep talking. Oh well.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it for the CME watch, though. There hasn't really been much activity since then. We do still have our giant sunspot friend, which I honestly have lost track of the actual number because of how many there are.
Yeah, look at that. And it's wild the amount of sunspots that we got right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We didn't even go into that. I don't before, did we?
No.
When Sean, we were supposed to go over the sunspot number and the solar flux number. I don't think we
Yeah.
did that. We're at a record high right now for sunspot number and solar flux index, which is essentially just the brightness in the sun and radio wavelengths. I want to say we're at, what was it, 300?
300 or something. But I think he said that's not the official number.
Preliminary, it was like 299.
Yeah,
I think
this
that's what I
one's
saw.
from that was it SIDC, if I remember correctly, the acronym. Yeah.
I can't remember what the acronym stands for, I'll be honest there, but yes,
Yeah,
SIDC.
solar
for sure.
dynamics, something. Yeah.
Something.
Something.
Usually something for words. But in this case, we've got, well,
Yeah. Well,
let's check out Star.
yeah,
I gotta say that at least once a stream.
I'm okay with it. It's fine.
I mean, it's one of the best pages, really. Now they do things so differently though. They're completely independent. They have Swipsy's numbers on there. Wow, look how high that went up there. Woo!
To the moon.
So NOAA sunspot number. Wow, are they really marking that down? That was 325, but I'm pretty sure that's the post or the pre when the flare was going on. So that one technically shouldn't be counting. But the 30-day wolf number based on Star, that's the one I'm looking at, is at 240.
Okay. Yeah.
These are numbers we haven't seen. Oh yeah, there's trains in Newark. That's right. If you're hearing a train, I apologize. It's like right down there. I forgot we had them.
It's a pitfall of screaming from a park, I guess.
They couldn't find a cornfield in time. Darn. Point is though, yeah, we got a lot of sunspots. And a lot of this is taking place in the southern hemisphere. And at this point, it's possible we kind of thought we had a first peak going on, and then we saw a slight decrease in the smooth number. That might have just been a wave at this point, and this may be going into the first peak still. Generally, what I like noting is a lot of, especially cycle 24, cycle 23 had somewhat similar. The hemispheres peak generally at opposite time or different times. So if the southern hemisphere can peak when the northern hemisphere is declining or vice versa, in which case you get more sunspots in one hemisphere and less in the other one. The stronger ones and the higher sunspot number ones are obviously the ones where the hemispheres are together converging to be maxed at the same time, which based on at least the polar field data I was looking at during solar min is likely. So there might still be two peaks in the cycle, but they would be fairly close together. Whereas if you look at cycle 24s, I want to say about a year and a half in between each peak.
Yeah.
Which, if you've got a weak cycle and you've got only the northern hemisphere peaking and then it goes down, and then the southern hemisphere peaks and then it goes down, you're not going to have much impressive anything really.
So, yeah. So I remember reading or seeing somewhere, I think on the Twitter,
It was the Twitter.
that cycle 24 is now being looked at as the anomaly.
Yes.
And not.
That is at least the real question. That was like a Scott McIntosh tweet, or at least somebody to him. Whereas, yes, cycle 24 at this point seems to be the anomalous one, not cycle 25. Speaking of Scott, there he is, and I know that's the reference here somewhere.
Yeah, so I thought that was. I mean, it's good for us because that means we'll get action, I guess. Better than 24.
So Lincoln comparisons, 24 being the pink. There was 25, almost 30 months in between the peaks. Notice how far apart they are. Notice that for the super cycle 21, there was pretty much just one.
That's pretty.
And notice As it gets lower, you get double peaks generally that are spread out a little bit more. There's a few exceptions to that, of course, but like you've got two very well-rounded peaks here for cycle 23. But cycle 22, barely, it went down a little bit and went right back up. But the idea is the further the peaks are, generally the weaker the cycle will ultimately end up being. Not to say that's the only factor, but that's a factor in what is going on there. So the good news is we've got a great solar cycle going on, as we all know, and we're likely to have way more of that in the next year to 2 years. So yes, these CMEs, I'm going to be honest, I'm not expecting much. If you all remember last week, I know you remember last week. G2, 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 watches, none of them.
But if you watch the stream just prior to this about Swipsy, they have a lot of stakeholders that they have to that they have to, answer to. So they really need to get these things out, even if it doesn't do anything for us. But it's important so that way, we have electricity, so I could do stupid stuff like this, like.
Well, I mean, technically, are we using electricity right now?
I mean, we have a
We're kind of off the
battery.
grid.
I gotta charge this battery somehow, so that's a thing. But
For now.
yeah, so I lost track of what I was saying. But anyway, but that
Watches.
yeah, the watch. So they put them out there for that reason, even though it didn't materialize for us at all. We had a couple, like I think we talked about, we had a couple of the blips that you could see, but when the event unfolded this week, well, all of us were like, well, this kind of looks like last week. You have CMEs going every which direction that you can think, and they're all kind of overlapped as you see in the last go imagery. So it's like, how do you make heads or tails of that? And that's the nightmare that is a forecaster.
And as you see, Swipsy struggles with that as well. And the fact that they just have to go with what looks like the best run. That's another reason why we like the Huxt ensembles generally, because of how many they run, and they just give you the average instead of, hey, we like I assume most companies do end up doing this, but then they pick, several of the runs and they say this looks like the best deal, and then because you're already in mine, I guess that makes sense. But the idea is the Huxt, they do all of their ensembles, they run everything, they average them together, and that's what you get. You get all the statistics. This not so much. When you're looking at the WSA and low models that Swipsy uses or NOAA or NASA uses, then you're not getting exactly a probabilistic one. You're getting this looks like the best case.
Yep. So we're in that situation again right now, and I think like we're waiting for a CME right now that was supposed to show up. So anybody that's out chasing tonight,
let's look at just regular data.
Yeah, well, let's look at
I
let's
am
bring up
still technically.
and since we
sharing.
see nothing in the EPAM, it's like, well, I think tonight's going to be out, other than your regular background.
It is about as background as it gets.
Yeah, background activity, that we.
So BZ's oscillating. So we'll have some minor substorms, but they'll mostly be polar. So Canada.
Oh yeah, make
Canadian
the
border.
Canadian border great again.
Is that just the low or motto we got now going on?
Yeah. So Canadian border activity.
Tanya, when you watch this and recording, you have to get that tattooed on you now.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry.
But
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're in a holding pattern. We're waiting. I mean, what I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I don't think we're gonna get anything really, really great, super great out of it, just because of how spread out everything is, and the uncertainty with it. I don't know. We've had some shocks bring some good stuff before, but it, my hopes are a little subdued a little, which I'm sure none of you want to hear that, but if it's a clear night, this weekend, the Perseids meteor shower is supposedly peaking this weekend. I know it's always typically this weekend that I'm down in Ohio. So that's always
Not like you've got more to look at it, and it is a crescent moon, so
yeah.
you at least
that's something to look forward to. It's clear here, clearish.
Actually, we're gonna have good weather the next 3 days.
Yeah, it's
which is proof that there's not gonna be any CME. Just so you all know.
Yeah, we're stuck in Ohio, so there's nothing gonna happen.
Yeah.
The smoke looks a little bit better. There's some that's swathing through the midsection of the country the last time I looked at it.
It looks good though.
The UP looks good. The northern tier of the United States looks good, even all the way to Montana. So you should be
One
good.
of your smoke stuff on there. Let's switch over.
I'll bring it up and then I'll share the screen set. It might as well over here. So
I just realized we haven't done anything weather related since now Ohio's gonna be nice.
I got it up. I'll share the screen.
Here. I should probably
Unmute
unmute
myself.
myself since I'm using this.
Yes. Oh yeah, my video. I guess I can do that, but I can just talk about this too.
Oh man.
Oh wait, I'll turn it on. Fine.
I turn
Fine.
One of us has to have it on.
No, if I can find where Zoom. It's right here, right? Am I losing my mind? I am losing my mind. Yeah. It's that long drive that I had to do. Okay, so video on. Okay. All right. We're back. All right. We'll share the screen again. Astrosphere. Share. Okay. There we go. We're back. That was my buddy, my partner in crime with all this crap. So here's our smoke map. Let me zoom out here. Let's get new forecast.
Your war is eating me.
Yeah, it's eating you up.
I don't like it.
Bye bye. Let's zoom out. But as you see, typically, the western tier United States is going to have the smoke problem because of the ongoing fires that's going on over there. But the northern half, like northern part of Montana, all the way through the Great Lakes region, actually looks pretty darn. This is the clearest it's been in a long time, to be honest. So it should be good for the meteor showers. And yeah,
Is it
even
cloud cover too, or just smoke?
I know. I think the cloud cover is supposed to come back in the upper tiered U.S. I mean, I can bring that up in a second too. But in terms of smoke, you go through the next couple days, it's actually pretty good through the Great Lakes region. So that's looking pretty decent.
Prime Aurora area too.
Yeah.
So at least that won't be a factor.
Yeah, even out west, like as long as you get out of the purple, you can generally start to see things again. It's just that heavy purple and red that you see here that is problematic. But yeah, you can be in like the orange or the yellow, because even right now we're kind of in. I'm pointing like you can see it, but
My camera's probably better.
there's a little bit of haze on the horizon, but the clarity up top is actually pretty darn good. And we're sitting in a like right now, I think we're in the orange.
It's like orange red.
Yeah, orange red. So yeah, it's really not too bad. So we'll go with that, and then we'll do a
Make a
weather
pretty sunset here in a minute.
windy.com. We'll go over to windy, and we'll bring up the weather. I like doing the weather.
I know.
All right, so
It's fun to use anyway.
yeah, I always bring up the European model. That's usually decent, and HRRR, but we'll start with European. So we'll do, where's my clouds? Clouds. So we'll fast forward a little bit. It's a little bit wonkier on the desktop. This app seems to work better on the phone for me, to be honest. But you see, this is Sunday, 11 to 5 a.m. So we got some cloud cover issues Sunday. Saturday, let's go to Saturday. 10 to 12 a.m. So yeah,
Terrible.
it's not terrible. The northern part,
He looks screwed.
the UP looks a little challenging, but the lower looks okay. Lower Minnesota through Wisconsin looks okay. This little section in the west or eastern part of South Dakota, looking okay. So it's not terrible. Like we've definitely had to do aurora chases where this has been way worse. But certain parts of the UP that you might want to go to, you obviously can't go to. But it's not too bad. We'll look at HRRR, what it says. It's very similar.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, so that's a good sign. That means the models are kind of converging. So like my personal confidence in these go up when I see the models like agreeing with each other. Versus those days where you get them where they're just wild. I dealt with this out west last week where the HRRR just did not agree with the ECWM at all. And it was like, well, what do you do? They start comparing satellite imagery to see which model is handling it better. But this is looking pretty good. The two models are kind of converging. HRRR doesn't go out all that far. So it defaults, I believe it defaults back to GFS when you start getting out too far. But yeah, it's those areas that we called out, it's looking pretty good. Smoke's looking pretty good. It's just now we need
Aurora. Well, keep in mind again, it's clear in Ohio, so your odds of seeing me hits are way low. That's a fact. That's not even
the fact.
Yeah. Not even a joke, not even it's just real.
But we wanted to do this stream, because it's very rare that we're in the same spot at the same time. And
Year.
once or twice a year. And two, because the media, it's been all over the media, it's been all over all the Facebook groups. People have been sharing those graphics that we don't necessarily like. Because
Want to take that rant?
because because it shows like the view line being like way down south, which we haven't even seen a hit yet. So it's like, how can you say that? But it's good for hype. You know, people love to hype things up. They love to get things going, and we really don't know until it hits L1 what it's going to do.
The ones comparing the Ovation model to the May 11th forecast to what tomorrow and tonight are supposed to be. Bad. Close to
bad.
the thing.
Yeah, because we haven't even seen anything yet. So anyway, that's our 2 cents on that. We wanted to get this out there. Hope
1 cent.
Yeah, 1 cent, 50 cent. I don't know. I swear to God, we're not under the influence of anything other than maybe no sleep.
Ohio Air.
Ohio Air.
I'm good though. That's all the info I had.
Yeah, anyway, we'll just end this now because I'm sure everybody's
What left of dignity we have.
I'm sure everybody's tired of listening to us good banter back and forth here. But anyway, thanks for coming along on our 2 live streams in one day. Happy Aurora chasing if you're out chasing. Tonight's probably not the one to do it because we're already getting into dark and we haven't even seen anything.
Go see the Milky Way.
Go see the Milky Way. We'll talk. If anything happens tomorrow, I'm sure we'll post about it. So that's it. I'm gonna end on YouTube now. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye. Hold on, I gotta end it. Stop.